living longer, living healthier, living better than ever before. Welcome to Mountain Pacific's Healthy Living for Life, a weekly series that gives you the information, education, and expert insight you need to become an active participant in today's ever-changing healthcare climate. Here now is today's program host.
If you continuously feel stressed or anxious, or maybe just looking for a good night's sleep, we may have the solution you're looking for. Welcome to Healthy Living for Life, a show dedicated to helping you do just that. I'm your host, Janet Whitmoyer, and today we'll be talking about meditation and mindfulness and how they can improve your life. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Healthy Living for Life. I'm joined today by Michelle Monroe, who is a yoga teacher at the Loft in Helena, Montana, and Grace Nematello, who is a mental health therapist at Crossroads Counseling in Casper, Wyoming. Thanks to both of you for being with us today. I want to start with you first, Michelle. Can you tell us what is meditation and how it can be useful?
Yeah, absolutely. So meditation and the word mindfulness, often get utilized quite interchangeably. However, they are two different things. And so meditation is a practice. So it's a thing that we do. And essentially, we're in that practice, we're witnessing the contents of our inner experience, and we're practicing essentially detaching ourselves from what's going on and being a witness to those thoughts, sensations, feelings, as they come up. So there's a practice of non-reactiveness that occurs within that. And mindfulness is a quality. And when we're practicing mindfulness, we're paying attention on purpose without judgment. And so meditation as a practice can help strengthen mindfulness.
Okay, perfect. So are there different types of meditation?
Yes, there are lots of different types of meditation that are out there. The thing about that, though, is that in order to practice meditation, it's not necessarily about the type that you do. So I always encourage people to try out lots of different ones, that it's not about finding like the exact right one, like in that moment. But that being a part of the practice of trying out different ones and just noticing like what resonates, like what feels good for that person in that moment. And so like different ones people might come across might be like yoga nidra is a really popular one, especially just because of the impact that it has on overall well-being and for sleep, things like that. But there's definitely a plethora of different ones out there.
Okay. I know that I, like a lot of people, feel stress at times. Mm-hmm. How can mindfulness or meditation help reduce the stress that we're feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. So meditation and mindfulness are huge for helping to lower stress and anxiety. Like society is oftentimes such a go, go, go. Like we got to get to the next thing. We got to be at the next thing. And so when we're in that practice of meditation or mindfulness and we can slow things down, we can slow down our breath, we can notice the breath. We can show up more present in the moment. And it's also going to activate our parasympathetic nervous system. And so when we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, that's giving that message to the body and to the brain, like, okay, like it's time to calm down. Like I'm present, I'm here, I'm safe. And to be with the breath in that way.
Okay. And so does meditation also help mitigate the physical aspects of stress on our bodies?
Absolutely. So stress has such a strong impact on our bodies. It's impacting our ability to sleep. It's impacting our digestion. It's impacting our inflammation. Just even how we respond essentially to everything. So if we're taking, whatever moments we can throughout the day to come back to slowing things down, again, activating that parasympathetic nervous system, then physically we'll start to notice that impact with the body's response with the neurotransmitters and sending those relaxation cues to the brain and to the body that it's okay to take deeper breaths and to slow down. And physically we'll start to feel better and feel a better ability to show up and to be present.
Okay. So building on that, if someone were to have pain problems or some type of physical limitation, how can they still practice meditation? I'm sure that they can, but how would they do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so, meditation can be done from a seated position. It could be done laying down. And you want to set yourself up to be comfortable. So it could be sitting on pillows, having other props available. If you need some more support, like under a knee, or for, shoulder, for something like that, if it's causing physical pain or discomfort. We want to be able to be in a position where we can be comfortable. And to also notice when we are experiencing pain, that can become part of our inner script that we have for ourselves. And meditation gives us an opportunity to cue in and say, am I telling myself I'm in pain right now? And so I'm experiencing pain. Or if I take a moment to say, okay, shoulder, like I feel you, like I hear you, and to take a breath and to slow down, we might notice that the pain will actually start to dissipate. And so again, we can practice not attaching to those thoughts that come up, but more so being a witness to them.
Okay. So how frequently would you recommend that somebody does practice meditation?
As much as, somebody is willing to do, because it could just be like taking one breath. And being aware of that. So that's that mindfulness part. So it might be that I'm saying to myself, like, that I'm inhaling as I inhale and I'm exhaling as I exhale. And if I can slow that breath down to whether it's a 4 count or 5 count or 6 count, that, we'll start to notice, that impact of that and feel that. So just that one breath could slow us down so that we're not reacting to something and that we can take a moment where maybe we would make a different decision. So whether it's one breath, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, any amount of time that somebody does is going to be beneficial.
Okay, perfect. It's time for us to take a break, but thanks for the great tips. We'll be right back with more from Michelle and our other guests. Thanks much. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here with Grace and Michelle, and now I'd like to focus on mindfulness, more so in this segment with you, Grace. So can you tell us what mindfulness is, and can it be a worthwhile practice by itself, or should it really be combined with meditation?
Yeah, so as Michelle mentioned, there is a lot of interchangeability in the two. So there's some overlap with mindfulness and meditation. So mindfulness is a practice that can be done on its own. It's really a mindset or a perspective, although meditation can help cultivate mindfulness as well. So if you don't have time to seek out specifically a mindfulness meditation, you can still incorporate mindfulness into every activity that you do within a day.
Okay. And that kind of goes along with my next question, that a lot of our viewers are very busy in their lives. And so is staying mindful considered a time-consuming practice?
It's really not. I think when you first begin practicing mindfulness, it could be a little bit more time consuming because it requires some practice, slowing down some of the things that you might normally fly through in a day. But ultimately, it becomes a state of mind, and then it really doesn't require much specific thought to it. Although you are doing everything with intention, it just becomes a more natural practice.
Okay, awesome. Can you tell us how mindfulness impacts our mental health?
Absolutely. So mindfulness is really important for mental health. First, it allows you to become present in your life. So if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, it's really natural for your mind to begin to catastrophize, or you become you ruminate on some small detail or event, or you might just shut down altogether. So mindfulness does allow for observation of the present moment as it is, really. So it helps relieve anxiety, depression, calms the nervous system, as Michelle mentioned. And those things may send you into overdrive. So when you practice mindfulness, you get to calm down for just a moment. And then it really helps you identify physical input signals that you're receiving from your body. So your body has a really great natural warning system, and being mindful allows you to start noticing those cues that your body is giving you about what's going on. So this can help people understand their surroundings, or how they're responding to different triggers or sensory inputs.
Okay. And I know sometimes it's hard for people to stay motivated or focused. How can practicing mindfulness and meditation help us with that?
Yeah, so both of the activities really help to calm your mind and then create this acceptance of what's going on, or all rightness with what's happening. And motivation, can be diminished by anxiety and depression. So when you change those negative mental states, you can improve your motivation and your focus.
Okay. And so mood is another thing. Can mindfulness help us to get out of those really funky mood problems that sometimes we find ourselves in?
Yes, absolutely. So incorporating mindfulness into your daily life helps you create more clarity about what your experience is. And so in the mental health field, we talk a lot about acceptance. And so you may be labeling experiences, this is a good experience or this is a bad experience. And so when a bad experience happens, you label it as such and you react to it as such, where mindfulness can help you detach from those labels of what is good and what is bad. And so if you're not experiencing it from that lens of this is bad or this is good, it can really impact your mood. You're able to stay in a elevated mood for longer periods of time without having those things really bring you into those negative mind spaces.
Okay. So can you give us some easy ways that people can begin integrating mindfulness into their day-to-day activities?
Yeah. So just pick one thing to do in a day and do it mindfully. So one example I like to give a lot is brushing your teeth, because there's a lot of things that are happening in that short period of time. 2 or 3 minutes that you're brushing your teeth, you are engaging all 5 of your senses. So how does the toothpaste smell? How do the bristles feel on your teeth or on your gums or in your mouth? Can you notice the way that the bubbles are forming in your mouth? And then you're looking in a mirror probably. So what does it look like when you're brushing your teeth? How do you move your hands? How do you move your mouth? And so you're able to really bring awareness to every single sense in just that one small period of time.
Okay. And I want to go on a little deeper with the toothbrushing example. Is there other ways to turn mindfulness into a routine habit?
Yes, absolutely. So just basically that, like I had mentioned before, you have to start out very intentional about mindfulness. I think it isn't always the most intuitive thing for everybody to do. And so picking something to do, like brushing your teeth or eating or showering or walking, any activity that you do in a day, say every day I'm going to do this mindfully. And then it starts to just become a more natural part of the way you engage in the world. So you go from doing your activities to really just being present in everything that you're doing.
Okay, great. Thanks. Great information, Grace. We need to take another break, but we'll be right back with more with both Michelle and Grace. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Healthy Living for Life. I'm going to start with you, Michelle, this time. Can you help tell us what some of the benefits might be with meditation and mindfulness for folks who are having trouble falling asleep at night?
Absolutely. So meditation can definitely be an asset to improving our sleep. Meditation can help to reset our circadian rhythm. It can help us to fall asleep faster. And it can decrease our cortisol and increase our melatonin. The thing that I love about meditation too, especially like if you're listening to a recording, is that even if we fall asleep while we're listening to the recording, our brain is still taking that information in. And so we're still gaining the benefits from the meditation. So if we're listening to one that's specifically for sleep, like Yoga Nidra for sleep, even if we fall asleep during that, our brain and our body is still going to be gaining the benefits from doing that meditation.
Okay. So Grace, I wanted to ask you, is meditation an effective treatment for insomnia?
So meditation in the clinical realm, I actually don't have an answer for that if it's been, if it's a best practice or an evidence-based practice, but meditation is incorporated into a lot of clinical practices for anxiety and depression. And as many viewers probably know, anxiety and depression can have a significant impact on your sleep. So I would say, yes, it can definitely be beneficial from a clinical perspective.
Okay, awesome. Michelle, I want to go back to you because I know you talked about this earlier about the proper breathing. Can you talk about how we would know if we are breathing properly when we are in a period of meditation?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we are feeling like stressed or in a more heightened state, oftentimes our breath is going to be more in our chest. And so when we're practicing meditation, we're practicing bringing that breath like down into the belly. So we're lengthening the breath. So as we breathe in, we want to think about filling from the belly to the chest to the throat. And then as we're releasing that breath, we're releasing from the throat to the chest to the belly. And so that'll help to lengthen that breath, which will help to cue the parasympathetic nervous system to let the body know that it's okay to calm down and relax.
Okay. So how would we know, or what would be the impact if we're not breathing correctly?
So if we are in that heightened state or like that more shallow breath, I mean, we might be a little bit more prone to distraction or being pulled away. So that practice of mindfulness, though, is that it's the practice of coming back, essentially. And so we're just drawing awareness back to an inhale and an exhale. And so if we find ourselves in that like squirrel off and running kind of moment, we can simply say to ourselves, like, I am breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. I am breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. And that'll help cue us back to being with our breath.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Grace, can you tell us about diet and how what the role it is and if it's important when we are considering meditation?
Yeah, meditation, and specifically like a mindfulness meditation, there are meditations that are about eating mindfully. So you get to, take a raspberry, for instance, and again, you engage all of your senses when you're doing this. And so you think about the feel of the raspberry in your hand and the way the raspberry smells as you bring it up to your face. And all of the sensations that you can have as you put it in your mouth and then chew it and swallow it and all of that. And so once you begin practicing those kinds of meditations, I think it really is critical in helping create a good relationship with food in the long run. So you're able to have a better meal, enjoy your meal, more control over, how much you're eating. You're paying attention to what you're eating, when you're eating, how you're eating it, and really savoring each moment instead of that kind of mindless thing that we can all kind of be prone to.
Yeah, just shoveling the food in. I get that. So going a little further with that, can mindfulness help us to actually lose weight? And either one of you that wants to take that, jump right in.
I think when we're looking at meditation and mindfulness, that somebody may or may not lose weight, that it's not an exact science on that aspect. I think it's that aspect of if we're paying attention to what we're doing and we're slowing down, we're going to be more cognizant of when we feel full, of whether or not something actually tastes good, of how it makes our body feel. And that might cause us to make different choices about the foods that we're eating or how quickly we eat or how much we eat. And all of those can impact our body as a whole and how we're feeling, which could in turn aid with losing weight based off of making different choices because we're being more cognizant and being more mindful of those choices.
Okay. And taking that a little bit farther, are there foods that might impact our ability to meditate and be mindful, something that maybe we should avoid?
I don't necessarily know that it's the avoidance of certain foods. I mean, if we think about certain foods like caffeine or sugar, things like that are going to cause us to be a little bit more amped up, which could then make us anxious, which could then activate our sympathetic nervous system. So yes, there are certain things that could pull us out, but they wouldn't prevent us necessarily from being able to come back to being aware of, of the breath or of the food that we're eating, things like that. So I wouldn't say that because you ate a certain thing that should discourage you from trying. That the big thing is, to give that, just giving that aspect of being mindful or practicing meditation a chance. We don't want to get wrapped up in why not to do it. We want to come back to it's a good thing to do it.
Okay, so in the last minute that we have, I'm going to ask both of you if you could share with us some apps or websites that people can use that would help them pursuing mindfulness and a meditation practice. So I'm going to start with you first, Michelle. Do you have any place that you'd like to direct people to?
Yeah, there's lots of ones out there, and I don't think there's any right or wrong. I personally use Insight Timer. Yoga Nidra is my favorite type of meditation. And so I use that every night to go to bed. But the Calm app is a great one. Headspace, I have people I work with that just go on YouTube and find ones or Google ones. There's lots out there.
Okay. And you have 10 seconds to share with us what your favorite app is, Grace.
I would just agree with Michelle. She really listed everything that is readily available out there with some really good resources.
Okay, perfect. I want to thank both of you for being on the show today. And also thank you for tuning in. Until next week, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for life with Healthy Living for Life.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health in partnership with AARP Montana. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the Healthy Living for Life logo. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.